Welcome to the G4 guitar presentation of understanding how the G4 guitar method works. This is a common question we get from many of our student inquiries. So let me go through it. Let's start here with talking about what the G4 guitar method is about and what it's meant to achieve. The idea of any goal is to know where you're going and know how to measure your progress. So there's no point in saying, I want to be a great guitar player. A great guitar player is a matter of opinion. What you need to know is I need to be able to do a certain thing. I need to have be able to play a certain song or play a certain or execute a certain skill to be of a certain level. So the G4 guitar method gives you that. It gives you a very clear set of goals and a very easy way for you to learn and know where you're going and know where you are at any given time. So the G4 guitar method is made up basically of what we call checklists, and those checklists are how you will measure your progress. So let me just go over here first of all and start with what we call the G4 guitar method in itself. This is the 2012 version. Now we've got picking, chords, arpeggio, scales, rhythm reading, oral and theory. These are what we call the essential skills, and they're all covered in the G4 guitar method. I'm just going to move through this. This is the first of several PDFs that we use, and you use them as printouts for when you're learning guitar with your teacher. So the first page here after the cover is where the student puts in the details, teacher details, the ID of the phone and email is, so the teacher puts their details here so you can contact them at any time. Now your practice schedule, Monday through to Sunday, you write in when you are going to practice. So having a clear idea and sticking to a routine is your best option. So you can write that in pencil, you can change it at any time. Now minimum practice per day, you can see here I've got 10 minutes for 4 to 6 year olds, 20 minutes for 7 to 12 year olds, and teens to adults 30 minutes. You can obviously do more, but that's what you need to do to get started. Now I'm just going to scan through this quickly. As you can see, this is what we call the daily practice sheet. This has the skills, picking, chords, arpeggio, scales, rhythm reading, oral and theory. They're the skills that you're going to be working on. You also have to learn particular songs, and you also have what we call the ultimate song list, and that'll be covered a little bit later. That's where you write the songs down that you ultimately want to be able to play. There's a list of things to remember, so if you go through those, that will help you with your practice and progress. Okay, there's some other pages here understanding the method, and then going through each of the skills, giving you a summary, some of the things that you need to know about the technique of each particular skill. Example here, we've got arpeggio, so understanding how to play the notes. There's some exercises there to get you started, and that covers, there's something there for each and every skill. And as we go right down to the end of the page here, then we get a section on practice that talks about the kind of practice you need to be doing, also gives a little bit of advice for parents. Then there's a section on performance, talking about how to get into performing, which is an important part of your guitar playing, no doubt. And then there's the last page, which talks about the downloads, how to get access to the downloads, help and feedback, and staying in the loop, and finally a thank you message. Okay, so let's move on to the next section. Now, this is where we're going to look at the checklists. The checklists are really the core of the G4 guitar method. A checklist is the goal. What you need to do is be able to achieve the things on the checklist. There are junior checklists, there are senior checklists, there are actually young beginner checklists, and then what happens is you go into what we call the AME-B checklists. So let's just start here and just have a look at one example. This is the junior checklist. This is a level 5. For instance, the skills are all there, picking, chords, scales, arpeggios. The format does not change. Those same skills apply to every single checklist. There's a start date up here, and then there'll be an expected completion date to give you an idea of how long it should take you to achieve your goal. Now, what happens is that the teacher will tick the boxes as you have completed a particular skill. And down the bottom here, they will write comments each week, generally in pencil, so they can be erased and updated as required. Now, you can see, I'll just go through, you can see this from other checklists here. These are just different levels for the junior. As I said, there are senior checklists, young beginner checklists, etc. So you will get a checklist depending on where you're at. If you're a complete beginner, you'll start at checklist level number 1, and then you'll move on from there. And it will also, of course, depend on your age as to which checklist that you use. Now, on the right-hand side here is another critical part of the learning, and this is what we call the practice log. Now, a lot of students who fail to fill in their practice log end up losing their confidence on the guitar, and one of the reasons is because you're not tracking what you're actually doing. If you track your practice, as they found in many areas, and a lot of research has been done in this area, and we've had great success over the years with students who use the practice log, there's an obvious difference between students who use a practice log and who don't. So I'll just explain quickly how the practice log works. Practice log, down here you've got the day. I'm just using the example at the very bottom here. If you just look in the bottom left hand corner, it's got on the first day you write 20 minutes. On the second day you do 30 minutes. Then you add those up and you've got 50. On the third day, if you do another 20 minutes, then you add that to the other two, which will give you 70, and so on. So that gives you a running total. So as you go down the month, it'll increase, and then you'll get to your total. Let's say that it ends up 1,000 minutes. Always do it in minutes. Don't worry about hours. We're just really measuring the number of minutes. Each month, then the next month, you'll do it here. So if you start this month, you'll write it up here, and then in the second month there, third month, fourth month, fifth month. The idea of having the months lined up is it allows you to see how you're progressing compared to previous months, and that is really important and something that needs to be explained in a little bit more detail, but that'll do for now. Okay, so moving right along, let's just go to the next page and have a look at, these are the supplementary books. This particular book here on the left-hand side is what we call the guitar rhythm book. Now, the idea is these exercises are designed to develop your rhythm. As you go through the checklists, you'll see that there are specific things that you need to be able to do, and they're all covered in these rhythm exercises. So first of all, we start off very simple. This is just a 1, 2, 3, 4. If you can clap 1, 2, 3, 4, then you can do that first exercise. And then we obviously apply them to chords and rhythm and strumming and so forth. So there's a whole bunch of different exercises in this book, quite a few pages there to cover, and it gets progressively harder as you move through the book. Okay, so looking on the right hand side here, this is the guitar method, chords and reading. This book is designed to teach you to read music. Part of what we do is teach you to read music because it's a very essential part of the music language. If you don't learn to read, then it's much like not learning to read in English. You're not able to absorb and learn as quickly as you can when you read. So we really would like you to learn to read because it helps you to learn music much faster. So there's a little bit of an introduction here. Talks about the finger numbers, some of the basics, so string numbers, string names, how to remember them using Easter Bunny Goes Driving at Easter, music alphabet, notes, where the notes are, all mapped out here, and then some music theory basics followed by exercises, and the rest of it will be exercises. Now what you can see here is there are also chords, C, G7, G, etc., and you will learn to strum those chords as well. And at the very end of this particular reading book, you will find a chart with all the chords laid out there, but the teacher of course will show you the chords as you go as well. So that's the rhythm book and the reading book. Now moving on, we've got one more supplement here which is called the music theory book, and this is designed specifically for guitar players, and by understanding this theory then you will understand how music essentially works. You'll understand how to make a chord, what are the notes in chords, you'll understand scales, how scales are made, what are the notes in scales, etc., etc. So the idea of the theory is to give you what we consider the essential theory, and that will prep you up for improving your guitar playing, not just from a point of view of technical playing, but also having a knowledge base. Now the last page that I've got here is called your ultimate song list, and this is where you're going to write a list of no more than 25 of the songs that you ultimately would love to be able to play on the guitar. The idea of the song list is it keeps you very clear about where you're going, and it also keeps your teacher clear about where you're going. The idea is if you don't have a direction, you don't know where you're going, the analogy that I like to use is like going on a journey, going to a travel agency and saying I want to go on a holiday or an adventure, and they say where do you want to go, and you say I don't know. So without them not knowing, then if they don't understand where you want to go, it's very difficult for them to help you get there. So the idea here is it's like an itinerary. Just write down all the songs that you want to be able to play in all the places, if you like to continue with that analogy, where you want to go. So that's the G4 guitar method in summary, and the idea is to if you're interested in learning by the G4 guitar method, the G4 guitar qualified teacher is your best option. And what you'll want to do is go to our website and click on the form, or fill in the form and then submit it, and then we'll get back to you with times and availability. Thank you very much for your time.